Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Hood Table one more again with your girl Tanya with another The Hood Table podcast. Please come on in, make sure you like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Please and thank you very much. Now, as you can see by the title of the show and also what's going across the bottom of the screen here, we're going to be discussing Julius Jones, who has hours to live, unless Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt halts his execution. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the story of Julius Jones, I'm going to give you a little bit of information. We're going to watch a few video clips and we're going to discuss what's going on right now in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And again, Julius Jones is set to be executed at 4 p.m. today in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, in 1999, Jones, who was 19 years old at that time, was convicted for the murder of a businessman, a white businessman by the name of Paul Howell. Paul Howell was shot in his driveway of his parents' home. And from witnesses' perspective, they said they saw a black man with a red bandana and 1 to 2 inches of hair shoot Howell and steal Howell's SUV. Several days later, Julius Jones was arrested. They said he matched the suspect's description, even though his family claims and still claims today that his head was shaved and he was home during the entire time that evening of the shooting. Jones has always said he has been innocent. He has always kept that innocence. His story hasn't changed. His family story haven't changed. They've been arguing and fighting for him to be released from death row for years and years. And actually, the parole board had recommended several times that he be released. As a matter of fact, the board approved the recommendation with 3 out of 5 votes recently, one member voting against and another recusing himself from the proceedings. The recommendation for the second time will go to Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt for a final decision. And basically, they are again hours away from finding out if the governor is going to recommend that his death sentence be downgraded to life in prison. And right now, what I'm going to do is show you a video clip here that is going to give you like some back information on this entire situation of Julius Jones and the murder of Paul Howell.
Welcome back to CBS Mornings. An Oklahoma man is just hours away from being executed unless the governor steps in. Julius Jones was sentenced to death almost 20 years ago for the murder of Paul Howell. It happened in 1999 when Jones was 19 years old. He's always maintained his innocence, but Howell's family believes Jones is responsible and deserves to die. Last night, the state police arrested one of the protesters gathered outside the governor's mansion, urging him to grant Jones clemency. Maria Villarreal is at the state capitol in Oklahoma City, where she spoke to Jones's sister. Maria, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Nate. Earlier this month, the Oklahoma Parole Board actually recommended that Jones's sentence be commuted and that he be given life in prison with the possibility of parole. But ultimately, the power lies with the governor. And as time continues to dwindle down very quickly, Jones's family continues to beg the governor to spare his life.
This is a state of emergency. This is a man's life on the line. His life has been on the line for 22 years. For something he did not do.
Antoinette Jones knows time is running out to save her brother. Her family visited him in prison Wednesday for what could be the last time.
How was that?
It was very hard in the fact that I wanted to hug my brother and that I haven't hugged my brother 17 years.
What did Julius tell you today?
The most important thing he said was for us to keep living. He said for us not to be angry if they do go forth with the execution. But he said to keep talking about him, talking about his truth, talking about the truth of the case, so that this does not happen to anybody else.
Did he still have hope?
He still has hope.
On July 28, 1999, Paul Howell was murdered outside his parents' Edmond, Oklahoma home in front of his family. His SUV was stolen, and a witness reported seeing a black man with a red bandana and 1 to 2 inches of hair shoot the father of 2. 3 days later, 19-year-old Julius Jones was arrested. His family says eyewitness descriptions did not match Julius, who at the time had a shaved head. They also say he was home at the time of the murder. Wednesday, his mother, surrounded by supporters, pleaded for his release.
The truth will set you free. We talk about justice. Justice for who? Justice for all of us.
Can you hear me?
Earlier this month, Oklahoma's Pardon and Parole Board recommended his sentence be commuted, asking the governor to change it to life in prison with the possibility of parole. The board chairman said, "I believe in death penalty cases there should be no doubt, and put simply, I have doubts in this case."
I am not the person responsible for taking Mr. Howell's life.
But Paul Howell's family says that's not true. We spoke to Howell's daughter, Rachel, before the board made their clemency recommendation.
You know, I want to be a voice for my dad because he was an innocent man taking his kids to get ice cream with my aunt, and he was murdered in front of me and my sister and my aunt, all for a car. And he never got a say in this. There is overwhelming amount of evidence of his guilt.
Julius Jones's fate is now in the hands of Oklahoma's Republican Governor Kevin Stitt, who so far has only met with the Howell family. This is the first death row clemency case he's faced. Antoinette says she'll be at the prison later today.
Will you go inside?
I have to be there for my brother. I would want him to be there for me.
You're taking a lot on yourself. Why?
Because he's worth it. His life is worth it. His life has always been worth the fight.
Police have set up barricades at the governor's mansion just in case there's any unrest. We've seen a number of extra troopers brought here to the state capitol. There are expected rallies at the prison as well as here in Oklahoma City. If the governor does nothing right now, the execution will go as planned. It's set for 4 p.m. Central Time. Gail?
So again, for some of you guys out there who hadn't heard of the story of Julius Jones, that was a little bit of the back information on the story of the murder of Howell, and how his sister and family, a lot of people, including celebrities, still believe that he was innocent. And as you heard, of course, the parole board, they believe that something, could be a little off. Something, there's some doubt. They approved it twice, and that, he be paroled, or not basically be paroled, but have his sentence switched from death sentence to a life sentence. And also, as you heard, the governor, Kevin Stitt, has only met with the Howe family and has not met with the Jones family. And this next clip that we're going to see is of Jones' mother, Madeline Davis, who tried unsuccessfully to meet with Governor Stitt just this past Monday.
Well, Julius Jones's mother, Madeline Davis Jones, came here with supporters, family, friends, and members of the Black Caucus to try to get a meeting with the governor. She also brought a letter to give to him. After a couple hours and after packing into the lobby of the office here, they were eventually told by the governor's chief of communications that they have a process, there was not going to be any meeting, but that they had received the letter, and the governor's taken all of this under advisement.
It's very imperative that we meet with the governor. Obviously, time is of the essence, and we would like to meet with the governor today.
Representative Jason Lowe alongside Jones's mother here in the lobby of the governor's office. A staffer telling them the governor wasn't available at the moment, but he could take their information. Davis Jones and supporters then waiting out in the hall for hours. Julius Jones's best friend Jimmy Lawson saying the family hasn't heard from the governor at all as he weighs this decision.
I hope that we get an opportunity today to share our side of the story, so we can provide the details and the facts that has already been known, but gives us an eyeball-to-eyeball opportunity to look him eyeball-to-eyeball and allow him to know that Julius Jones is innocent and his life needs to be spared.
2 weeks ago, Governor Stitt told our Evan Onstadt that he planned to meet with lawyers on both sides and the Howell family, but said the Joneses weren't on the schedule. The Pardon and Parole Board has now recommended twice that Stitt spare Jones's life. His mother saying today he'll keep praying.
God brought my beautiful, wonderful son here, and it's his responsibility to take my son. And I'm believing in God and trusting in God.
And if the governor does not grant clemency, Jones will be executed in 3 days' time. A decision on clemency could come at really any moment.
And as you heard right there, the governor did not meet up with Julius Jones' mother, Madeline Davis Jones. She was unsuccessful in getting a meeting with him. And again, he did already meet with the Howe family. So there's some questions there about, why he's refusing or haven't made time or arrangements to speak with Madeline Davis Jones. And as I stated earlier in the show, there are a lot of high profile celebrities who are, along with his family and community, pleading for clemency so that his sentence can be changed from death to life in prison. Now, as far as his mother, Madeline Jones, who again was unsuccessful to meet with the Governor Stitt. She has spoken to about 300 people, a lot of them students in nearby schools who had a walkout. They walked out of the school, they were chanting and singing hymns. And basically, Davis Jones, the mother of Julius, said she don't want to go to a lynching tomorrow. This was yesterday. She said she don't want to go to a lynching tomorrow. She said, why would I want to see someone hang? We should be through with that. Do you want your baby, your child, to be hung? And real quick, I'm going to show you a little clip of the video of children walking out of the schools in that community. Right there, you just saw a lot of kids, a lot of students in the local community down there where Julius Jones is set to be sentenced today doing a walkout from their schools. Celebrities, professional athletes, and activists are pleading with Oklahoma's governor to grant clemency for death row inmate Julius Jones, who now has approximately 4 hours before he is set to be executed. Kim Kardashian tweeted the other day, "This is the cold machinery of the death penalty in America. My heart breaks for Julius and so many others who have suffered from such tragic miscarriage of justice." And also, as you heard last night on our show, last night where we was discussing this along with um, the rapper Young Dolph's deadly shooting that happened yesterday in Memphis. We had Laverne, the author Laverne, on our show last night, who lives down there in Tulsa, and she was saying how the governor's mansion, they have put up a lot of police, a lot of law enforcement surrounding his home, just in case there is a backlash, just in case the governor does not come through and approve and puts a stay on his death sentence. Law enforcement agencies have ramped up security at the state capitol and the governor's mansion in response to rallies in support of Jones. In a statement Wednesday, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol said barriers have been placed along Northeast 23rd Street near the governor's mansion, and the sidewalk in front of the mansion has been blocked off. OHP is tasked with protecting people and property on state grounds, and we plan to do so with the professionalism and courtesy the citizens of Oklahoma have come to expect from our agency. That is what law enforcement had to say about that. But yeah, you guys, if you haven't already read about this story in full detail, please check it out. Again, Julius Jones is set to be executed at 4 p.m. today, unless the governor comes through and stops that lethal injection process at the state penitentiary in McAllister. And on that note, everybody, please remember to like and share the video. Subscribe to the Hood Table if you have not already subscribed. Please and thank you very much. Stay safe, be blessed, remain vigilant at all times, and always remember, keep it hood. Bye.